Hello and welcome to Stress Less with me, Jess. Today I have on a special guest, Bryce Henson. Hi, Bryce.
Hey, Jessica, how are you?
I'm good. I'm so excited you're on here. I haven't had a fitness person on here in quite some time, so I'm so excited that you're on here. But before we get started, I do want to read your bio. So you're the CEO of a Fit Body Bootcamp, the world's fastest growing fitness bootcamp and franchise, having nearly 15 years of experience in the fitness industry and owning two Fit Body locations. His passion is spreading fitness to the world. Through Fit Body Bootcamp Worldwide Transformation Challenges, Bryce has overseen their global clients lose nearly 1,000,000 pounds of weight loss. Just a smidge, right? That's not big at all, right? And more importantly, he is helping others offset the obesity pandemic and provide more health and life to his following. Bryce enjoys traveling and is a fitness expert, coach, author, and an inspirational leader. Bryce, this is so cool because I also got your bigger bio. So I know there's more to you. Can you please tell everybody who you are and why you're so amazing?
Oh, goodness. Hearing that bio, I always get a little embarrassed, but it sounds better than I am. I'm just a normal guy growing up in the Midwest. Fast food is a staple of my diet. And not a fitness guy by any stretch of the imagination, or I wasn't for a long time, but certainly that changed, and it's still kind of a pinch me moment now when I look back and you hear that, all the incredible rap sheet on helping people lose weight and battling the obesity epidemic and all the crazy stuff that we've been able to do. But I just have a really big passion for fitness because it changed my life in an incredible way. It really opened up so many doors for me, and I'm excited to kind of share that message with you and your audience as well.
I love that. So I think so many people can relate to that fitness in some way, in some short way, has helped them in their health, their mental health. There's so many benefits to fitness. And there's so many extremes to it, right? There's not just one way. And I think that's kind of one of the better things that I like about fitness so much, that there's so many things you can do. There's not just a one size fits all practice. So I think it is just a really amazing thing what you're doing.
Totally. Thank you.
So can you tell us a little bit about your journey with fitness? Because like you kind of said, you didn't just maybe wake up wanting to do this. How did this whole journey kind of start for you?
Yeah, great question. So I kind of teased it a little bit, but I usually say in the Midwest would be true. I spent my first 10 years in the South. In fact, I grew up in a suburb of Atlanta. I used to talk like this when I was a little boy, nice Southern draw. Actually a blessing disguised as a tragedy happened. And ultimately my father was a drug addict. He was addicted to alcohol and gambling, not necessarily trifecta for a really healthy and fit, conducive lifestyle. So thankfully, my mother scooped up her kids, and we went north to the state of Michigan, where her mom lived. So I really spent the better part of my childhood and my adolescence and early adult years in the state of Michigan. And I love the Midwest, amazing people, salt of the earth, incredible place. But I think we can all agree, Jessica, not the fitness capital of the world. So there I was, fast food, specifically Taco Bell, was a staple of my diet for many years, partly because my family used to run out of money before we used to run out of a month, but also because it just wasn't ingrained in the culture. So I ended up getting an internship in Los Angeles, California, the summer before I graduated, which took me out to LA full time after I did. And I was 21 years old at the time. I was excited to be in Los Angeles, California, the palm trees, the blue skies, the beaches, all that Southern California, LA has to offer. But Los Angeles is also the plastic capital of the world, as we all know. So there I was, 21 years old, 3,000 miles from home. On one part excited, but the other part I was depressed. I didn't have, a friend network. I didn't have any professional skills to offer the world. And I didn't have the energy, the vibrancy that I do now. And really, if you kind of unpeel the onion, Jessica, it really comes down to the fact I didn't have fitness in my life. And I can't claim that I was an obese guy, but I was about 20 pounds of body fat, overweight. I had very little muscle on my body. And I lived that way for a couple of years, actually, when I first moved there. And thankfully, a fortuitous situation happened, which really is alluding to how I started my own fitness transformation. But a buddy of mine, his name was Adam, and I went to college with him, and he moved out to Southern California. So we decided to live together. And a little bit about Adam, he was not on the cover of Men's Health, but he could have been. He had the six-pack abs, the glistening muscles, the energy, the confidence. All the girls looked up to him or liked him, and I looked up to that. So after a few months of living together, and even though I look back and I'm embarrassed to admit it took me a few months to actually muster up enough courage to say, Adam, can you show me a little bit about this fitness thing? And thankfully he did. He actually though got a 90-day commitment, which I'm glad he did, because he said, Bryce, let's face it, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. How many buddies at college asked me how to get fit? And I was like, a lot. I'm like, how many actually stuck with it? Like virtually zero. So he said, I'm going to teach you everything that I can and know the next 90 days, but I want you to follow me to the gym and eat what I want you to eat. And after the 90 days, if you're like, hey, this isn't for me, then okay, off you go. But if it is, then you'll see a big difference. And thankfully I said, yes, I honored that commitment, because as we all know, and if you're listening to this, it's not easy. The first few weeks, my muscles were sore. I literally couldn't sit in the toilet. It was just very challenging, as you would imagine, but I stuck through, and really I was with him for about 2 years, and to put a bow in the story, but really for about the first 6 months, he actually just radically changed my fitness, my physique. He introduced me to lifting weights. He introduced me to circuit training. He introduced me to clean nutrition, but most importantly, he introduced me to personal training, or I should say coaching and accountability, because I would love to look you and your audience in the eye and say, I would have done it by myself, but I can't do that. So thankfully he did. And over that period of 6 months, I stripped away 20 pounds of body fat. I put 20 pounds of lean muscle. I got the physique I was looking for, but way more than that, I changed my life. I had more energy, more confidence. I became one of the least performing sales reps in the company, all the way to the highest performing sales rep in the company, all because of fitness. And really that was the foundation to me having a transformation, which then opened my eyes to potentially exploring it from a professional perspective. And we can talk about that, but really that's kind of how I got my start in the fitness industry.
There's so many things that you have said, and that I just want to pull apart so much, because there's so many important things that I want to take away. And the first thing is the support, right? So even before we get to the accountability piece, just the fact of you saying, hey, this is a friend I trust, and I'm going to go to that person and ask for support. I think that just speaks of highly who you are. But also, like you said, it took you a couple months to even go, okay, I'm going to go ask for help, right? Or I'm going to ask for support in something that should be something, I'm going to air quote over here, common, right? But it's not. It's people do need that support, and that they do need what led into their 90 days, because it is not an overnight thing. It's not something that, you can give up with in the middle of it and still expect results, right? So it is something you have to stick with. And you mentioned a couple of things in there. It was your mental health. It was the commitment to the nutrition. It was the commitment to working out, but then it led you to new different ways to work out. It led you to new people, to meet and things like that. But also in the sense of like your outside of fitness life, now in that confidence, you feel good. But then there's that energy where you're not slugging yourself to work, and you're not, going, oh my God, okay, let me regroup. Let me reread this email. It's not one of those. You gained all this confidence and you're ready to kind of take over the day with that. And I think it just really outlined, the different reasons why working out and taking care of yourself physically is so important.
Yeah, totally. So many awesome takeaways. And I think if you really unpack it, is that ego not allowing me to ask for help and ask for support. And let's face it, like human nature, we have that ego in us. So, sometimes it can protect us, but many times it actually can inhibit us from really achieving the lifestyle or our dreams, goals, and aspirations. So thankfully I took a little humble pie and asked the question and got the support I was looking for. And certainly the rest is history. So
that's so awesome. Because I think it also speaks to who you are probably as a coach too, because that those first 90 days are far from easy. Because you've probably been through this, right? You go through 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and all, like maybe 3.5, you're going, well, I'll just take one day off. Well, I'll just take a nap. I don't need to go today. Or, you know what? I'm going to go to Taco Bell as a reward, or, right? So you kind of have this mindset of, what it was like. And those first 90 days are so hard. And also I think, and tell me if this is true, that people that surround you that see your transformation, they need to either be supportive or understand, because they can go, well, just go, you can skip today. You look fine. You already lost all this weight, right? So hearing the naysayers too, especially during that 90 days, has to be hard.
totally. And that's really why I mean, I oversee now a Fit Body Bootcamp. Our brand is group training because it really has that group support and accountability. And whether you have a group training studio local to you or not, really surrounding yourself with people who are going to support you and lift you up is really important, and easier said than done, especially if you come from a family or a group of people that don't value fitness, don't value clean eating. Because honestly, aside from Adam at that time, I kind of got caught some slack, like, Bryce, why are you eating this way? You never used to eat like that. So ultimately, no one likes to be questioned like that, and especially when you're first starting your journey, it's exponentially harder. So finding really good, not only a support of a coach, but also too just a community that can really get behind you is really, really important for your long-term success.
I love that. I think it's so important. Before we hop into more about what you do, so definitely want to highlight that because you even just hit on group coaching, which I love group coaching when it comes to fitness specifically. Can we talk about a little bit more of the confidence? How does working out really build that confidence in yourself?
Ooh, I love this. Number one, I mean, if you look better, because if you work out, typically your physique's gonna follow. You're gonna build lean muscle mass, and your physique's just gonna look better. So ultimately, when you look better, you feel better, and then ultimately you act better. So I think that is really, as vain as it might sound, that is as a foundation for having more confidence. The other thing that I like to highlight is if I unpeel the onion and I look at what confidence is, and you can look at it from a few different ways. But the biggest definition that I buy into is if you are confident, you have self-trust, meaning like you trust yourself. So how do you gain more trust with yourself? Well, there's a few reasons, but one of them is stacking wins. When you say you're going to do something and you actually do it, what happens is you stack a win and you build more credibility with yourself and say, okay, well, shoot, I did this. I said I was going to do it. I followed through on that. And then ultimately it's a cycle. It also is a cycle in reverse. Why, ultimately people that are in a rut and don't have self-confidence, typically when you actually break it down, it's they're making promises to themselves and they're not keeping those promises. So really, to put a bow on it, there's a wide variety of ways that confidence instills that from the physique perspective. But I really think that it allows you to stack wins, it allows you to build credibility with yourself. And once you do that over and over again, then it just builds with time. And I guess the last part about it is just really a chemical imbalance as well. Like when you work out, your dopamine centers release, you feel like the happy chemicals, the endorphins, and dopamine is actually a chemical which creates more drive. So that ultimately your dopamine sensors are released, then you create more drive to take that next action step. And before you know it, you're just stacking wings all day long. And you look back and you're like, holy smokes, how much have I accomplished? And shoot, I trust myself, how much more confident I am. So it's just this cycle that repeats.
I'm so happy that was your answer. Not that any answer was going to be wrong, but I'm so happy that was your answer because it just ties into so much of what my community is, that self-talk, that self-confidence. Because for me, what I think about is we set the standards for how others treat us, right? So, and how others come into our life. So if I'm doing this, if I'm saying I'm going to eat this way, I'm going to work out this way, I'm going to look good because I just want to look good, right? We're not saying you have to have abs to look good. I'm not saying any of that, but just the physical fact of taking care of yourself. There's so many things that you mentioned, like the dopamine things. If I'm setting myself up saying I can conquer this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, and I keep showing myself that I can show up for myself, I'm going to want other people. I'm setting the standards for other people in my life. Like, this is how high I meet myself. This is how high you meet me. Right. So this is why I love everything that you're saying. And obviously the dopamine, I mean, we can go into stress all day long just about that, right? Without even, we don't have enough time, but that just alone, right? That goes into the sugar cravings. If you have low dopamine, you're gonna be craving all the sugar, right? So that just alone, you helping with that is just, there's so many important things to physical fitness. I just wanted to really highlight that before we got into what you do, because I really wanted people to hear how important it is in a different way than just the physical look, because as amazing it is to, summertime looking good in those dresses and things like that, there's so many other benefits to showing up for yourself every single day and working out. But before we do that, one more question. For me, with a lot of my clients is time. I don't have time. I don't have time to work out. I don't have time to meal prep. I don't have time. And I'm not saying my people aren't busy. They are, for sure. We all are. Is there any tips or tricks you can kind of guide us when it comes to time management for working out?
Great question. I'm going to first say, I'm going to push back a little bit and say, when someone comes up to me, one of the clients says, I don't have time, what I actually say very lovingly is say, you actually don't have a priority, because if for whatever reason, you said that, okay, I wanted, like, what's the biggest priority in your life? Well, of course, you're going to push that front and center, and then the rest of the stuff kind of fills in the back end. And let's face it, I'm a fitness pro, so I prioritize my fitness. There's other things in my life that I want to do, but honestly, I haven't made a priority for. So I just take a little bit of my own coaching and say, okay, Bryce, we're all busy. Jessica, you're busy. Your audience, if you're listening to this, you're busy as well. But really, I'm going to question, do you not have time or do you not have priorities? Because if you actually take a step back, you can't fit everything in the day. It's just absolutely impossible. You're right. If you look at it from that lens, you could say you don't have time for anything. But I want to start there. The second point actually is more of a tactical, practical, I guess, insight from a fitness perspective is the common misconception is that you need to spend an hour and a half or 2 hours on a treadmill or a cardio machine or these crazy workouts. And certainly, if you're going to work out versus not doing that, and whatever time it is, it's going to be better than not. So get moving, et cetera. But really what we do at Fit Body Bootcamp, we do 30-minute sessions of high intensity interval training. So 30 minutes is 2% of your day. So I tell our client, our dream client, we call her Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones comes in and she says, Bryce, I don't have time to work out. I'm saying, Mrs. Jones, if you don't have 30 minutes, which is 2% of your day, at least 3 times a week, I say this with love, I can't help you. So the good news though, is vast majority of people, when they realize, oh, I need to prioritize my health, I need to prioritize my fitness, magically they can pull out 2% of their day a few times a week. And then, bliss happens. So more from like an actual technical perspective, the beauty of circuit training is you don't have to spend hours in the gym. Don't let it fool you that 30 minutes you're moving the whole time, but you can get a good blend of strength training. So you're working on your resistance training, whether that's weights, dumbbells, bands, or just your body weight. And then the other aspect of your workout should be should be a cardiovascular training. So working on those lungs, making sure you're sweating, out of breath a little bit. And again, if you have a half an hour, 3 times a week, you have enough time to be fit.
I love that because it's so true. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about that confidence talk, and that setting boundaries for yourself. It's that prioritize. If I'm not prioritizing myself, no one else is going to, right? So prioritizing yourself the best way you can. And again, you just named there's so many different ways to work out. So just 30 minutes. And like you said, it's 2% of your day. That's just 2%, right? So what are you doing for that 30 minutes? And a lot of us, if you ever do that screen time, seeing does your phone do that? It says how long you're on your phone for, right? And so think about that, how long you're on your phone for and what else you could have been doing. And this isn't a guilt trip. I'm not, kind of coming from you. Like, this is all I love and caring and things like that. But, kind of prioritizing is basically what you're saying. So learning the different things that you're spending your time on, becoming aware of that, and where can you kind of fit in your fitness, right?
Totally. And a lot of it is, is awareness. And let's face it, everyone had, like, today's day and age of the internet, we have a lot of stuff going on. But to your point about screen time, or just taking a second and actually just journaling what you did for that day, you'll be surprised how many open pockets you have. And even for a guy like me who oversees an international fitness brand, I can be more efficient. I can find time, if I really need to prioritize a few things. So that's what it breaks down to. And it's a work in progress. At the end of the day, if you mess up and you realize, okay, I didn't make it a priority today, but I need to tomorrow. Okay, let's go. Then let's get at tomorrow.
For sure. No, I love this. All right, Bryce, let's get into your business. Fit Body Bootcamp. Tell me all about it. Who is Miss Jones? I want to hear all about it.
Yeah. So, and I'll give you at a high level. I'll kind of also story tell a little bit about from where I started my fitness transformation and kind of how I got involved. But Fit Body Bootcamp, high level, we're a fitness or indoor fitness franchise bootcamp system. We're the fastest growing indoor fitness bootcamp in franchise system in the world. We're based in Los Angeles, California, but we have hundreds of locations, primarily in the States, about 90%, but we have about 10% of our locations in Canada as well. And we practice in high intensity interval training. So that way, Mrs. Jones is not an NFL athlete trying to shave a second off her 40-yard dash to make the combine. Our Mrs. Jones is your everyday person who has a couple kids, has a career, has a spouse, is very busy, doesn't love working out, isn't looking forward to crush her workouts every day, but she knows she needs a change. She knows she needs to be fit. She knows she needs to lose weight, feel better about herself, gain more confidence, move better, be there for her family and kids. And honestly, she hasn't been prioritizing herself. And that's actually what the big conversation is, going back to Fit Body Bootcamp. A lot of times is, especially our demographic, which we call our dream client, Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones has time for everyone else, her kids, her family, and she does an incredible job at that. And hats off to you, Mrs. Jones. But I'm here to say, you want to prioritize and make sure that you're a priority as well. Even if it's just a half an hour on a daily basis, holy smokes. And that's what we do. We run 30-minute high intensity interval training sessions. We run a combination of strength training. So it actually builds lean muscle, which most women, for as an example, when they hear like building muscle, they're thinking, oh my God, I don't want to get big like the Hulk. And the fact is you don't have enough testosterone in your body. Even guys have a struggle with that. So ultimately by lifting weights, by adding resistance to your body, you build lean muscle mass, which actually burns more fat at a steady state. And you actually look smaller, you look lean, you look toned. And that's what enacts the afterburn effect, which afterburn, if you focus on resistance training, which is training your skeletal system, your body will actually burn calories at a higher state, upwards of 36 hours after your exercise than cardio alone. So high level, that's basically, who we are, what we do. And we also, the last point to put a bow on this particular section is we specialize in nutrition coaching as well, because a lot of times, not all, but a lot of times our clientele, Mrs. Jones, comes in because she wants to lose weight. She maybe hasn't worked out in 10 years. She's gained 40, 50 pounds with pregnancy and life and the pandemic, whatever the case may be, and knows that she wants to feel better. She wants to weigh less. So nutrition is a huge component of that. In fact, it's more of the equation than just movement alone. So making sure that you're putting clean nutrition, hydration, lean proteins, fruits and vegetables is really important. So we package that up and really help our clients from the fitness perspective, from the nutrition perspective, from the coaching and accountability perspective as well. And that is in a nutshell is our program.
I love it. I love it. I mean, Mrs. Jones is definitely a common person. We all can name a Mrs. Jones, maybe more in our own life, right? There's so many people, like you said, that prioritize everybody else. And it's kind of what I was trying to hit on earlier. There's so many, especially women, prioritizing other people and not themselves, right? So I think what you're saying with Mrs. Jones is right on point, and just taking care of everybody else, but also that time management, again, bring that up. But I love that you keep mentioning the HIIT workout, because I love that. It's personally one of my favorites, because there's always something you're doing, but a lot of body weight too, which I think is awesome. Kind of like you were saying, my one girlfriend calls them like the lunch lady arms. We don't want the lunch lady arms. So
I've actually never heard the specific lunch lady arms, but I know exactly what you mean, just because there's a lot of analogies for that. So I'm picking up what you're laying down.
Right. So when you're talking, I'm like thinking like, that's exactly what we always think about those. But yeah, so it's so important. Can you kind of talk about the group of coaching and fitness? Because when I'm thinking about it, especially when I first started working out, I was kind of embarrassed, right? So I was kind of embarrassed to go in a group, because I was thinking about, oh, well, all these people know what they're doing. They're gonna be able to lift harder and stretch longer. And so I'm like having this anxiety about going into a group going, I gotta go, right? So can you kind of dive more into that group coaching and kind of really explain, because I know now that I do it, that it's really not that bad, and it's actually funner to kind of do it in groups sometime.
Totally. And what you just said is just human nature to a T. And I've heard this, I've been in the brand since 2012. And honestly, calls come in from Mrs. Jones thinking, okay, I'm excited. I want some help. But I'm not a fitness model. I need to lose a bunch of weight. And I'm guessing there's just a bunch of fitness models running around your gym. And I'm here to say that couldn't be farther from the truth. Certainly we attract and then ultimately train and get clients into incredible shape. And we have some clients, who have been with us for a decade or more, which is absolutely incredible. And they're super fit, as you would imagine, not because they were fit before, it's because they came to the group training and then they got fit that way. But that's just a very common misconception. But the truth is we have Fit Body Bootcamp is for everybody and everybody. So we have all shapes and sizes, if you will. And how it works is we have two coaches, which is really important in the group training model in our particular modality. We have the mic coach, which the mic coach is in charge of bringing the energy around the microphone to be able to provide that motivation. And then we have the floor coach, and the floor coach is basically working in the trenches in the groups, providing good encouragement, but also good form correction to make sure all of our clients are doing the exercises safely. So a mic coach and a floor coach, and that group element is just so important for increased intensity, increased energy, increased results. And let's face it, people, human nature does well with competition. Think about sports as an example. If you didn't have any competition in sports, the game would never elevate, and players do not get better. But when you put, sports teams against each other, when they're training together, then that healthy competition, if you will, actually brings everyone up. And it's the same, with our program as well. And, there's certain type of programs that are highly competitive. Ours isn't. It has friendly competition, but, we're not overly highly competitive like a CrossFit Games or anything like that, but just enough where you're going to get it pushed. You're also going to get motivated. And honestly, I'm 38 years young. I'm a fit guy, 10% body fat. I believe, I'm not kidding you. When I go to boot camp, which I go to sessions a few times a week, and Mrs. Jones, we have some clients in their late 50s, 60s, and 70s, and they're doing push-ups and planks. And I look over and, a 70-year-old client named Stacy's holding a plank. I'm thinking to myself, all right, suck it up, Cupcake Bryce.
Yeah, right.
Like, get your butt in there. Let's go. So that's another huge value of the group training modality, is not only from the coaches, from the energy that I put out, but you work harder together and you get a better result long-term.
I 100% agree with the whole competition, the healthy competition, right? There's just that healthy competition of whether it's with yourself, like you said, seeing someone older, doing maybe more push-ups than you, or doing that plank a little bit less of a struggle than you. But there's always that, you kind of make that one friend that they're like, come on, one more, let's go, one more. There's just like that really healthy competition. I love everything. So my next question for you is, someone's listening and they're going, oh my God, I have to contact Bryce. I have to know how I can learn more about this program. What is the best way someone can contact you?
Oh, well, thank you. I'd love to continue to serve you and your audience. The main way, what I would say, encourage you to go to our website, which is fitbodybootcamp.com. And there you can check out, any of our locations. Hopefully we have one in your area, or one of our virtual options. But aside from that, my personal handles, whether it be on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, would be Real Bryce Henson, not to be confused with Fake Bryce Henson, but that would be where you can find me on all those channels. And hopefully that's a little memorable for you. But that way, in what the content I push out, half of it is focused on health, fitness, circuit training, clean nutrition, eating, accountability, weight loss, etc. And the other half of it is inspiring business owners within our brand and also outside our brand, in terms of providing content to enable fitness professionals to go out and basically make an impact in their community.
Love it. And all your information will be repeated in the notes wherever you found this, whatever post you found this on, everything will be repeated. But you also have one thing coming up in the fall, September 19th. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, thank you so much for asking. I know we were connecting off line on it, but a few times a year we do these fitness transformation challenges, and it's a great way to bring in a bunch of clients at the same period of time for a certain amount of weeks. Provide them nutrition coaching, unlimited access to our our fitness facility. We put some friendly competition, some games, some prizes, and just make it a really fun event. So our fall challenge, our fall fitness challenge, which I know this episode is releasing just a few weeks before this particular challenge starts, which is awesome. And would highly encourage you to go to our website, fitbodybootcamp.com, and then you'll see all the information there. And if we have a location in your area, you'll just basically go out and register then. And it's a great way for you to get fit, to learn about fitness, nutrition, meet a bunch of people, and actually do it in a group setting where you're participating with thousands of challengers worldwide. It's a great time, and I highly encourage you to check it out.
Awesome. Again, I'll put as much information as I can in the notes for everybody, so you have all that for you. Bryce, before I let you go, I warn everybody about the lightning round. Are you ready?
Well, you warned me about it. You didn't give me questions in it, so I'm partly excited. I'm partly excited, partly nervous, but hey, let's have some fun, and I'm all about it. So fire away.
Well, you are a fitness coach, so the first question I have to ask you is, what is your favorite junk food?
Ooh. I'm a sweet tooth like at my core, so I love me some sugar, some ice cream. I can pretty much avoid like the carbohydrates, the fried food, all that. I mean, I've kind of like pizza and fries just like anyone else, but I can actually abstain on that. Just give me some sugar, some ice cream. That's where you're gonna find me.
That's so awesome. Good. So you are human. See, everybody, it's fine.
Oh yeah, of course.
As a fitness coach, what is your favorite workout to do? Is there a favorite workout move that you get the most challenge from? What is your favorite thing that you do for working out?
Well, I'm a product of my product. I love 30-minute high intensity interval training circuits because honestly, it gives me the best workout. We talked about time management and prioritizing. Like I'm a product of my product. I work out 30 minutes a day, and I'm busy just like you and the rest of your audience. So with that in mind, I love the type of training that we do with circuit training, which is basically half resistance, half cardiovascular, specifically giving you an exercise really to answer your question. I love, my favorite exercise would be a burpee push-up. And the reason it is because it blends both resistance training and cardio training. When you do a burpee, you're basically up and then you're down hitting the floor and then you're going back up. So basically you do a few of those and like you're out of breath in a heartbeat. You literally, your lungs are on fire. And then if you throw a push-up in there, then you get some resistance training. You're building lean muscle in your chest and your arms. So you ladies will look nice and toned in a dress. So burpee push-up would be my favorite recommended exercise.
I can kill a burpee, but adding the push-up, that's where I struggle. But
well, you can work up to it, baby steps.
Right? Put it on my next challenge. If you were not a fitness coach, what would your career choice be?
Ooh, it's interesting. I've ascended the ranks to become the CEO of this organization, which is crazy because I started as an owner and a janitor, and a wild story which we'll have to tell some other time. But the reason I share this with you is because I always wanted to be very successful from a financial perspective. So I would say if I wasn't in the fitness space, I'd probably be going to high finance or real estate, which are certainly good investments, looking forward. But really, to bring it back, Jessica, fitness massively changed my life. I'm super passionate about fitness. And I thought to myself, I got one shot at this life. I got one spit around this globe. Might as well do something that I'm incredibly passionate about, something that's really affected me in a very positive way. I could do that for others. And if I can make it a lucrative career in the process, win-win-win. So that's the reason I picked that.
I love it. Next question. If you do have a boat, if you don't have a boat, what would you name your boat?
Oh, wow. I do not have a boat.
I wasn't sure. I read your bio and you travel a lot. I'm like, oh, you probably have a freaking boat.
No, I don't have a boat. And oh my goodness, I can't think of a good name off the top of my head, but it would definitely be a female's name. And I feel like I don't have anything good for you. I'm sorry. We're gonna have to take an audible on that, but it would definitely be a female's name.
We'll call it Mrs. Jones for now.
Okay. All right. That's a placeholder.
Okay. One more. What I lied to you. I got two more. What was your favorite thing to order when you went to Taco Bell?
Chili cheese burrito. I don't know. I just had a flashback. I haven't ordered a chili cheese burrito.
I saw your face going back.
Since like 2000. Actually, I started my transformation in the story, which I told you, my buddy Adam, in January of 2007. And I think over that 2-year period, drastically changed my physique. I still had a little bit of Taco Bell during that period, but then honestly, like from 2009, I stopped. I think I had one chili cheese burrito 2 years after that. And honestly, I was like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever, because I can't even imagine my taste buds have changed. But it just took me back. It's been 15 years since I ordered that, but literally like it's in the subconscious.
That's so funny. Like I saw your face like flash. Okay. Besides fitness, what is another way for you to relieve stress?
Fitness is my way to alleviate stress. However, I mean, I follow you and watching your website and all that, like the yoga, the breath work. There's a lot of different ways. It's interesting. I'm going to say that another part of my routine, which actually technically increases stress, but then long-term it helps my breathing, et cetera. So I'm going to say it also reduces stress at the same time. But I'm a huge component of cryotherapy. So I do these polar plunges in my freezing cold pool at 48 degrees. So cold, so beneficial for your body though, but I do it for many reasons. But afterwards, it literally, like, all the endorphins release, the dopamine, the fight or flight sensors come out, and I feel very calm for about 2 hours. So interestingly enough, I say this like tongue in cheek, because when you submerge yourself in a polar plunge, you're actually stressing your body, but you're only doing it for upwards of 3 minutes. But then afterwards, the benefits, it's kind of like working out actually. After the benefits can, massively give you more relaxation and reduce stress. So that would be a long-winded answer for me.
I'll have to send you the episode of the guy that's his business. He gets people to go on these retreats, and that's what they do. They do ice bucket challenges. So I'll have to send that episode. But Bryce, I am so excited you made time to come on here, share your story, share your passion. And I'm just really appreciate you taking your time out today.
Well, Jessica, thank you so much for having me. You're such an animated host, and I had a lot of fun, and I love what you're doing, and it's making a huge difference. So appreciate you and your time, and I trust that your audience has gotten some value today.
Thank you.